as you can see, I have a huge stack of vintage linens that I need to get cleaned. They're stained, they're yellowed, and all of these I've picked up at estate sales or garage sales. They're not ones I already own. So I don't know the history of them, and I really want to get them as cleaned as possible before I put them into the rotation of using them. Now, I do have my own way that I usually do clean my vintage linens, but I don't know if that's the best way. So that's why I'm holding this experiment today, to see which of the 3 most popular ways works the best, or at least the best for me. So what I'm going to be using today as my test is I have these 3 napkins. And they all are very stained. In fact, I will show you very close up this one. There's some real yellow stains on these different napkins. And they also have this red embroidery. So I thought they would be perfect for this experiment. I'm going to use each one with the different pieces of the experiment. Unfortunately, I don't have a 4th one to use as a control, but I'm going to compare them to the white of my dishwasher to kind of see what happens at the end result. Now, with the 3 napkins, I am going to use 3 different products. The first one will be an oxygen cleaner, basically like an OxyClean, but the more generic brand. I will be using Biz and another one. And then the 3rd one will be dishwasher powder, the kind of powder that you would put in your dishwasher. And I have heard great things about all 3 of these, but I don't know which one is going to give me the best result in the end. I'm also going to use the soaking method, and the soaking method means that I'm going to soak my napkins overnight in each one of these products. That way it really helps to penetrate and get into the dirt and clean them as best as possible. So let's get started with this experiment. So first, let's start by adding about a cup of water to our container. Now, note that I'm using clear plastic. I'm doing the clear so we can see through it more easily and see if there's dirt or just anything that appears. But always use plastic tubs or bowls or containers when you are going to be soaking your table linens, because you do not want any metal in there at all. You don't want any possibility of rust or other contaminants. So always make sure that your container is plastic. Next, I want to add about a tablespoon of each of my products to the water. So I'm going to start first with the Biz one, and I'm going to add about a tablespoon in here. Now, I am not doing exact science, so this might be not the best ideal ratio, but I'm doing it consistently. So I'm going to do a tablespoon in each one of these. And what I'm going to use to stir it up with is just a wooden chopstick. I would either suggest using a wooden spoon, or if you've got a really large tub or container, you can always get rubber gloves and put those on your hands if you want to do it by hand. The other thing I forgot to mention is using warm water. So make sure that your water is nice and warm, not necessarily super hot, but you don't need to use cold water. Use warm water when you're doing your experiment, or when you're doing this yourself. So I'm just going to stir this up really nicely to make sure that it's well mixed. And then I'm going to take my napkin and put it directly into the bath. I'm going to make sure that it's really soaked. And in this case, I'm going to go ahead and just use the chopstick to push it down. And I'm going to make sure that it's completely covered as well. Now, I'm going to just stir it up a tiny bit, just give it a little bit of agitation, but really not much. And then I'm just going to leave it as is. Always make sure that you stir it up really well. There might be a little bit of granules in there. It's really not a big deal. You don't have to have it completely dissolved 100%. Make sure that it's pushed all the way down. All right, now I have all 3 of my experiments going. I'm going to let them sit for 24 hours and just soak in these baths. I might go back and stir them up gently once, but otherwise just be patient, let them sit and soak overnight. All right, it's been 24 hours since I started my experiment with my 3 different solutions, and I want to take a look and see how it's going so far. But before I do that, I wanted to let you know why I decided to do the Biz and the oxygen cleaner, because I think some people think of those 2 products as interchangeable, that they do the same thing, which they do in that they are lightening the stain or trying to get rid of the stain, but they're doing it in 2 different ways. So Biz is an enzyme cleaner, which means it's going to be attacking the oils, the proteins, the starches on a more molecular level and breaking down the stain itself. Whereas the oxygen cleaner is trying to lighten the stain on a molecular level. So they have the same end goal, but they're doing it in a different way, which is why I wanted to see what's going to work best on my vintage linens. Is it going to be the enzyme cleaner or the oxygen cleaner? Now let's look at the 3 solutions close up. When we look at the oxygen cleaner, it definitely looks more clear, the solution does. Whereas the dishwasher powder actually has a bit of a redness to it, so it makes me wonder if those red threads bled a little bit. And then the Biz cleaner, well, the blue is definitely gone from the Biz, but it looks a little murky and a little dirty. So the next part of the experiment is to actually take my napkins out of their solution baths and completely rinse them clear of the solution. I want to make sure I get all of that solution out of them. Now, quick disclaimer though, depending on your vintage linens, you might need more than 24 hours to let them soak. They might need to soak for 2, 3, 4 days or a week. It really depends on the severity of the stains and how dirty they are. Also, that when you look at the solution after 24 hours, is it looking murky? Does it look like something's happening? Is it completely clear? Make that judgment if you want them to soak longer. It's not going to damage your linens, really. It's just how long is it till it's stopped its effectiveness. So that's just your own judgment call, and what you see works as far as that particular linen itself. All right, let's start rinsing out these napkins. I'm going to start with the Biz solution first. Next, I'm going to do the dishwasher powder solution. Wow, look at that color. That makes me think some of this red has bled. No, none of the red has bled onto the white. And last, it looks like the oxygen cleaner might have bled a little bit from the water. See how it has like a bit of a pinkish tone to it? No, this next one didn't do that either. Okay, so each of my napkins have been rinsed from the solution. I just went and put them back in the container that I had them in and in front of the solution product that I used. Now they're still wet, but I'm going to take them out one by one and see what has happened to the napkin. First, let's start with the Biz one. And, well, I'm not very happy with Biz. You can see still the stain right here. Let me try to bring that up a little closer, how well you can see that. But the red did not bleed. The stain though is still there. So I'm not very happy with the Biz performance after 24 hours. Next, let's do the dishwashing powder and see how that turned out. Now that solution was really red, but it doesn't, well, it looks like the threads might have bled a tiny, well, I really don't think they have bled much, maybe a very, very tiny bit along the edges, but take a look. There is absolutely no stain on here at all. And this one actually had, I think, one of the bigger stains set in it. So I am really, really impressed with this dishwasher powder. I did not expect to see this results with it. And especially because this is just a generic brand, that is really a cheap way to clean vintage linens. All right, let's look at the very last one, the oxygen cleaner. This one too, I thought might have bled a little bit with the solution having a pink look to it. And, oh, yep. Okay, I don't know how well you can see this because it's still wet, but there's some red here and here and here. So it does make me think that the red did bleed, but the stain itself is completely gone. So that part is very impressive as well. So I'm okay. Well, actually, let me see here. Yeah, nope. It looks like the stain might be super faint here. You probably can't see it. I can up close, but still. The oxygen cleaner did a really good job except for the bit of the bleeding in, oh, dang it, you can even see here it's still bleeding on my towel as well. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. That was not the results I expected. I did not think that the automatic dishwashing powder was going to be the clear winner in my experiment. I really thought it was going to be the oxygen cleaner or Biz. That definitely surprised me. The only disclaimer I would put on it is make sure that if you do have something embroidered like the red on these napkins, especially if you've got black or gray, they tend to bleed more, so separate those. Do a little test area if you can, but the automatic dishwashing powder, by far the best for cleaning your vintage linens. And the final tip with cleaning vintage linens is once you are done with rinsing them out, you might want to just do a very quick rinse in some distilled vinegar. It will help remove any extra soap or solution that could be within your linen. You will have a little bit of that vinegar smell, but that's just for 2 or 3 days, and then it's going to dissipate and go away and you won't notice it. After that, feel free, wash them, dry them as you normally do, and enjoy your clean vintage linens. So did you know about automatic dishwasher powder and how effective it is at cleaning vintage linens? Or were you as shocked and surprised like I was? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to find out. No matter what the case, I hope this gives you the confidence to clean vintage linens that you might find at estate or garage sales. And actually, that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to tackle this huge stack behind me. If you enjoyed my video, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Bye.